Welcome back to Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter Aftershow. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest, back with you for a no spoilers ahead, meaning we're covering each chapter 7, 8, and 9 of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, pointing out some foreshadowing, but keeping it pure, moment to moment, chapter by chapter, reliving the magic as it unfolds. Today, we're covering chapters 7 through 9, as I said, and we're going to be talking about sorting hats, suspicious potions masters, and one very misunderstood, very stationary three-headed dog. So wands down, hearts full, let's dive in. So, chapter 7, we go right into the sorting hat from last week. We had just arrived at Hogwarts, and now is the time for the students to be sorted into their houses for the first time. This first book is almost like an introduction to rituals and a foundation for the rest of the series to grow on, it being more lighthearted, I believe, than future stories told in the series. One, because of the characters' youth and young, and two, it's letting the audience feel that actual magic of the trolley idea. And anything from the trolley idea will take the lot. I know, I can't help but quote the movies. And they also came out with the actors and pictures of the young new Harry Potter. And, I don't like the response. There's a lot of angry adults out there. Let's, let this happen and just see how it is, before shutting it down and attacking a kid for not being Daniel Radcliffe. But we're not going to talk too much about that today since we're here to talk about the books. So, the Sorting Hat. This chapter is where Hogwarts stops being this distant idea in Harry's head, and it becomes real. The Great Hall, this enchanted ceiling, it's almost like in the book, in quotes, like it looks like the sky is right above them. The ghost, the whispers, the awe, and then the sorting hat. It reads your mind. I'm going to say compared to the movies, because I just always remember Harry saying not Gryffindor. I think it's okay to compare. It's just when we get to the movie, I don't want to do all the same comparisons. But this movie was like sacred to me as a kid, so I apologize if I'm referencing it a lot. It's not like it's not based off of this book or anything, but we want to kind of form new ideas and new predictions and look between the lines. But back to the sorting hat. I love how this scene is just so weirdly specific to the wizarding world. A hat that literally decides your fate at age 11 and can read your mind. Sure. Totally normal. But seriously, this is one of the most iconic scenes in the whole series. Not because of the magic, but because of what it reveals about choice. Harry doesn't want to be a Slytherin. I think he already knows, like us, like Malfoy is a Slytherin. Harry, it just doesn't fit in with that sort. The hat tells him he could be great, though. Great in Slytherin. Maybe there's an alternate timeline where Harry becomes a dark wizard and joins the ranks of Voldemort, if he's still out there somewhere. But Harry pushes back at the hat, and the hat listens. That's huge, actually. That's everything. Because it tells us that this isn't a story about fate alone. It's about the choices we make. Also, proud moment, okay? I'm here to say I got sorted into Ravenclaw. Ravenclaw family, I see you out there, firmly sorted, happily nerdy, probably overthinking things, like whether Fluffy the three-headed dog gets enough enrichment time. But we'll get into that. This chapter locks in characters into their paths. Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff. Friendships are forming, rivalries are sparking, and the adventure is truly beginning now. Chapter 8, The Potions Master. Shortest chapter I think we've gotten so far. Not the least of content, though, because we kind of get a little bit of a montage. Hogwarts really starts to feel like a school. The classes start, schedules, strange moving staircases, professors with big personalities. And speaking of the personalities, let's just talk about Snape. From the moment he speaks, you can feel the temperature in the room drop. He's sharp, he's cold, and he's kind of a bully. And Harry is just trying to survive his first week, and Snape is immediately on him. The questions he asks, they're traps, and the sarcasm, unnecessary. The disdain, palpable. Why? Why does he hate Harry so much? Harry even asks Hagrid later, why does Snape hate me so much? And what does Hagrid do? Classic Hagrid. He just changes the subject. Foreshadowing? Absolutely. Hagrid knows more than he's letting on. and we as readers won't fully understand until much later, book 6 to be exact. But this is why Rowling's writing works so well. The seeds planted early, slow burns, long games. I just wonder if she makes decisions in the later books based off the lines in this book to make that foreshadowing. Like maybe she didn't really know where that was going, but it set her up to write that follow up to that moment in a later book. Before we move on, also, can we just acknowledge how weirdly dangerous this school is? First years are literally being taught how to brew things that could kill them. No big deal. Welcome to Hogwarts. I really don't have a problem with Hogwarts. That's what makes it so magical. And they're also not afraid to throw these new students like Neville Longbottom onto broomsticks and just teach them to fly their first week. Apparently, it's kind of a natural thing for wizards that are not from Muggle families. I also like overall in the book so far, we get to see that Harry is not the only person who knew little about Hogwarts, and he was very nervous that he was not prepared. The only person that made him feel that way was Professor Snape. Anyway, a lot happens in Chapter 9, The Midnight Duel. Let's just start with Neville. Poor Neville with his Remembrall. The Remembrall is such a cool idea, but it's so painstakingly relatable because, you know what? I say things and then I forget them immediately sometimes. And if I had a Remembrall, it would confirm that I forgot the thing, but it doesn't give you any reminder of what you were thinking. I've always thought that. Neville is definitely a character I overlooked a lot early in the series. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, I've only gotten through the books to not even all the way through book 5. So when we get there, it's going to be a treat. A lot of the foreshadowing, even I'm noticing, is going to be from the movies. And I got to say, like, the last movie, I feel like they crammed a lot in, even though it was in 2 parts. I'm really looking forward to reading the last book, The Deathly Hallows. I'm not rushing there, though. It's going to be so earned, and we're going to have a beautiful catalog of after shows for anyone now, later, time travelers, people in the past. They'll all be able to listen to our take on Magic Muggle. And yes, it is our take. You, the audience, is going to make this what it is, and your feedback is always welcome. MagicMugglePod at gmail.com. You are welcome to share your thoughts, your predictions for the new HBO show, anything except insults. Don't hurt my feelings, okay? Don't knock me off my broom like Neville. He didn't even get knocked off. He knocked himself off, but poor Neville. It's such a small object, this Remembrall. It holds a lot of weight, though. Not just for Neville, but symbolically, forgetfulness, insecurity, and wanting to belong. Neville breaks his wrist because, of course, he does. The poor guy can't catch a break. We're off to a great start with Neville. Poor guy. Off to the hospital wing he goes with Madame Hooch. I think that's her name. Meanwhile, Malfoy, being Malfoy, taunts Harry again with the Remembrall because it fell out of Neville's pocket when he fell. And just at lunch, Malfoy snagged it from Neville and picked on him. And this is the second time he's doing it in a day. So something about the way Harry rejected Malfoy in the chapter right before the Sorting Hat, and even in, was it Hogsmeade or Diagon Alley when he meets Malfoy for the first time, not really knowing who he is. I think Malfoy, I honestly do. I think Malfoy really wanted Harry on his side and as his friend. And I don't know what his intentions are. Maybe just popularity because he got Harry Potter into Slytherin, or he got Harry Potter in his group of friends. And it's just something to boast about in the wizarding world at this point. But, the bigger Harry is, the more hurt Malfoy is by his rejection. Because to Malfoy, I'm guessing he doesn't really reach his hand out a lot to people. And he sees himself as being really nice to Harry. And Harry's shutting him down and embarrassing him in front of other people, I think just sets Malfoy off to be Harry's antagonist throughout this series. Harry definitely stands up to Malfoy as he takes the Remembrall after they take Neville inside to fix his wrists, and it's a little bit different than lunch this time. Harry takes off on a broom after Malfoy just throws it and says, "See if you can catch it." He was born to fly, and he's a natural talent. Pure instinct, zero fear. He catches the Remembrall. McGonagall sees it, and she moves fast. She introduces Harry to Oliver Wood, Gryffindor's team captain, and just like that, Harry's future as a Seeker is locked in. I love that. And it's been maybe something like a century since they've had a first year as a seeker. But Harry is already proving that he's not just your average up-and-coming wizard. He is special in a lot of ways. And Malfoy, what a petty antagonist. Let's go back to him for a minute. Of course, Malfoy, being the ultimate petty antagonist, decides to challenge Harry after all this to a midnight duel, the name of the chapter. So you're expecting it to be a pretty big duel. He's not brave enough to show up, of course. It's a trap. It seems like to Harry and Ron and Hermione. Hermione shows up with them on this little journey to the midnight duel. She really doesn't want Harry and Ron to leave because she doesn't want Gryffindor to lose points. So she follows them out of the painting, but the big lady on the painting isn't there. So she sticks with them. This is our first Harry, Ron, and Hermione suggestion. But then they find Neville Longbottom sleeping on the floor. Poor Neville is such a clumsy guy in this book. I wonder if they turned that around or when they turned that around. I never paid as much attention to him, but he's really standing up to me now. Mainly because he's with the big three, in my opinion, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, on one of their first outings. So it seems like he has more of a connection to these characters than maybe just your average Gryffindor would. So the fat lady missing, it's a pretty cool detail because it's upsetting for them as characters, but for us, it's just another showing of the castle being alive. And it has moods, obstacles, and secrets. We will learn a little bit more about that this year and through coming years. But Malfoy just never shows, and instead, Peeves shows up, and then Filch gets involved because Peeves rats them out. This is classic Hogwarts chaos. Peeves is a poltergeist, which is typically a very scary ghost. There's even a movie called The Poltergeist. If you're brave enough, go watch it. I don't think that Peeves is as much a scaring ghost as he is just an annoying one. And he brings Filch to the group with Mrs. Norris, so they have to run all over the place to escape him by a hair. It's just classic. And let's just talk about this now. This is its own topic, right? The Forbidden Corridor on the 3rd floor. And Fluffy. We don't get to know who named him Fluffy, but we will learn that. Not a big spoiler. But this is where things escalate because they stumble into this 3rd floor. They don't know they're there, and they realize they're there way too late. And guarding something very mysterious is a 3-headed dog, Fluffy. Now, as a kid, I thought, whoa, this is a cool monster dog. It's got 3 heads. It's scary. You know, I like that dog, but I was terrified of him, and I didn't question that at all. I'm like, what a cool thing. And now as an adult, I'm like, and as a dog owner, I have questions. Here. I'm concerned. Is Fluffy stuck in that room 24/7? Does he get enrichment time? Does he get walks, playtime? Is he just magically induced to guard the room and just be a literal sitting in place dog all the time, 24/7? Does Hagrid have a magical dog park, is what I'm asking, hidden somewhere for him to stretch his legs? They could just teleport him there and then teleport him back safely. I just need to know. It's kind of like the food in the Great Hall. I'm sorry, I'm just ranting on Harry Potter, but I need to get some of this out. The giant feast. If I brought this up in the last episode, I apologize, but I don't think I did. The feast shows up out of nowhere, right? And we know the tables, the food just shows up. And I'm thinking, can wizards really manifest food? Because they could heal the entire world, labeling humans as muggles and then having unlimited food supplies. It really does seem like you're gatekeeping magic when it could really benefit the entire world. But of course not. There is an explanation. This is a slight spoiler if you want to skip ahead 30 seconds because it's probably answered in one of the books. Turns out there's a whole bunch of elves or goblins. They all make and prepare the food in the kitchens, and then magic is used to transport the food to the tables. This kind of comes back to Fluffy, right? So I think they have to, put Fluffy out for some exercise, maybe even at least once a week, right? Where's he going to the bathroom? There's so many questions here. This book goes into lots of details, but this is just eating me up. You know what I mean? Or is he really just this poor creature pacing in that little room day in, day out, waiting for some first years to bumble in? I know Fluffy isn't that important, but it just really makes me think. These are the things that keep me up at night. Even terrifying magical dogs deserve enrichment, okay? The chew toy for one had at least that they could share. They won't share. What happens if they get mad at each other, I guess? But jokes aside, the moment reveals a lot. There are real dangers here: secrets, locked doors, consequences for curiosity. And they were very much warned not to go there in the opening ceremony by Dumbledore. And, they didn't mean to go here either. They just stumbled upon it. So maybe it was fate. And this is not just a school, obviously. It's a labyrinth of hidden truths. And our trio, they're getting pulled in deeper and faster than they realize. So key takeaways from these last 3 chapters, I'd say: the Sorting Hat's choice matters, and so does Harry's agency. Snape's grudge is deeply personal and ancient. Neville's inclusion really does matter. His struggle is important. The fact that he's with them, seeing the 3-headed dog, and I still call them a trio, does maybe speak on where he is as a character right now. Hermione is slowly but surely becoming one of them, and Malfoy remains the absolute worst. But Fluffy deserves better. What strikes me about these chapters is how quickly Hogwarts shifts from wonder to warning signs. It's magical, it's exciting, but it's also so dangerous. If you care about the characters, you really don't want them to get hurt. This isn't a book that just kills the main character's mother and father in the first page or 2, is it? Oh, wait. And the friendship is forming. They're being forged through these moments of tension and trouble. Harry, Ron, and Hermione, they're not bonding over shared classes or common rooms. They're bonding through rule breaking, through risk, through running from danger. Alohomora. And I'd wonder, most wizards would probably know that if Hermione at her young, first year knowledge and being a muggle before this already knows how to do it. Maybe that's just a testament to Hermione as a character, them running together and being together, it's real and it's earned, and it's setting them up very slowly to become very good friends. And this is why this story still holds up after all these years. These themes don't disappear. They're in our daily lives. I want to thank you for joining me on Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter Aftershow. If you're enjoying this journey, please consider checking out the tip jar in the About section. No pressure, just support if you want to help keep this magic going. You might know me from Marvel Maniac and MCU Aftershow. That's my other podcast. We are almost reaching 200 episodes. If you love Marvel, the MCU, join us. I'll also be promoting this show on that one. And you don't have to listen to both of them. If you're a Harry Potter fan and not a Marvel fan, you are more than welcome here. We're so happy to have you. Also, rate the show if you can. Give it 5 stars. Leave a positive comment. It'll possibly be read on the show. We could really use it for the algorithms just to get this show out there, because I'm really proud to make it. And man, I ain't stopping. I cannot wait. I'm loving this. I want to make another episode right now, but I got to read. And I'm not rushing. It's a lot of reflection time. I did take my time reading these chapters this week, and I think it really makes everything weigh a little bit heavier. But if you're someone who saw this show and just read the first book in 3 days, I don't blame you. I still want to keep the show entertaining for you. And I'm telling you all these housekeeping things, well, because I'm Mr. Honest, and sometimes I just have to say everything that's on my mind. But it's amazing to have you here. You have a wonderful week. Until next Saturday, keep turning these pages. We'll keep diving deeper into the Sorcerer's Stone. And until then, wands down, hearts full.